So guys, let me break this down to a more kind of foundational concept. A lot of the conversation has been about Bitcoin, but really we're talking about a series of technologies, and I want to make sure we have clear segmentation of blockchain is essentially an immutable ledger, right? And Lily, this is where some of your specialty is, both in the core ledger as well as offshoots of it. And then we have cryptocurrency as probably the most popular current use case, and then Bitcoin is an instantiation of that use case with which most people are familiar. Corey, I'd like to start with you, and then I'm going to kind of work down on this one, but help us understand Ripple in a bit more detail, specifically with how you guys have built this type of system and where you see these technologies fitting.
Yeah, my big pet peeve are the morons who cannot distinguish between Ripple, the enterprise software company, and XRP, the digital asset. Many of them are all over online, but no. I think that fundamentally, I think we're at a stage where this peculiar thing happened with the creation of initially Bitcoin, and we look at XRP as Bitcoin 2.0, where there are a lot of the technological limitations of Bitcoin were fixed with XRP, which is why we've based some of our software solutions using XRP and not using Ether, not using Bitcoin, not using sort of other options out there, just because it closes transactions so much more quickly and can confirm transactions so much more efficiently. But I think that we are at a stage in this industry that a lot of comparisons are made to the internet, and I think that a lot of those are really right. And Tom, we were around for a lot of that too, so we saw a lot of that happen, and it definitely has a lot of familiarity. But I think the difference is that one of the important differences is in the very early days of the internet, the creators of it were academics, it was government, and the notion was we've got a superior technology. How do we propagate it? We'll make it free. And so the value kind of went up the stack, and value was not in the sort of the basic TCP/IP level. There wasn't a lot of money to be made in DNS or registries, but that hardware sellers, the Ciscos of the world that emerged, sold to telcos. Telcos made a lot of money, but the middleware, the Oracles of the world, and even in the Salesforce, there was a lot of value there. But really in the application layer, when you got to Facebook and you got to Amazon and you get to Google, that's where the money was made. So the creators of the very early, Bitcoin, XRP, Ether, they said, no. We're going to help incentivize people to join this by putting a dollar value on every block, a dollar value almost on the nodes of the network. And so then we go to my former employer, CNBC, and you get the great Bill Griffith, you get crazy Jim Cramer, my former colleague. Buy, sell, price charts up to the left. Literally the same graphics package, the same charts. And we look at that and we think, that's not sustainable. That's somehow all the other charts we've seen on this network, all the other ways we've looked at financial journalism, of which I was a practitioner, those things all blew up. Maybe this is going to blow up. Yeah. But I think that, when I look at that, I see an adoption curve. I see what we saw with dishwashers or the telephone or radio, and that it was a bumpy ride, but eventually these things led to a lot of adoption. Now, this may not continue forever, but I think that by attaching a price to the basic blocks, we get confused in the conversations we've had about things that we know from the past. This is different. But fundamentally, we've got to get to a point where we're not talking about stores of value or speculation, but where there are actual use cases of companies that are trying to solve problems, business problems that are unsolved by prior technologies.
It's great. Thank you.
And to Paul's point too, look, getting money and moving money in the developed world isn't terribly hard. The technological solutions aren't usually a lot better than working with US dollars and euros and yen, but there are other problems that our global financial system have that the current systems haven't fixed, and I think XRP is a better solution, and Ripple's trying to write some software to help do that.